So we're going to do two new types of factoring today. Last time we did greatest common factor, or GCF. That's what you practiced with the little Quizlet game. Today, the first one we're going to do is our trinomials. They follow this kind of a pattern. You're going to have something with an x squared. Are you listening to me? Because like you're going to have to know how to do this. Something with an x squared, something with an x, and then just a regular number. Okay? Do you see that format? You have to be a good noticer and see what's going on. Do you see how this follows that format? You have an x squared and then just an x and then just a number. You don't want to write this down? Okay. All right. So what you're going to do is set up an X box. The third number, which in this case is 12, that goes at the top. The middle number, which in this case is 8, goes on the bottom. Okay? No one listens to me.
Oh, flip it up. Goober.
So can you work that out? You need numbers that multiply together to be 12 and add up to be 8. Good, perfect. 6 and 2 or 2 and 6, doesn't matter what order you write them. And then your answer, you draw 2 sets of parentheses. And those are the numbers that go in there. You're going to have x plus 6 and x plus 2. And that is your answer. So that's why we practice the X box stuff, because if you can do that, that gives you your answer to these problems, right? Let's try a few of them. So for number 1, just off to the side, draw an X. Which number is going to go on the top? 40, good. And on the bottom, 14. So you need 2 numbers that multiply together to be 40 and add together to be 14, which is good. 10 and 4, or 4 and 10. Again, the order you write, it doesn't matter. And so for your answer, you're going to draw your 2 sets of parentheses. And in there, you'll put x plus 10 and x plus 4. Real quick, just so you can understand what it is we're actually doing. Can you look real quick? Last unit, do you remember how we had problems like this and you drew a little 2x2 window and you would write x plus 10 and x plus 4 and multiply it all together? Do you remember this? It wasn't that long ago. If you do that, you would get this problem. We're just doing it in reverse. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just in reverse, okay? So let's try this one. What number is going to go on the top of the x? It's 27, and on the bottom, negative 12. So this one has a negative in it. So just get the numbers first, though. Don't worry about the negative. Okay, so we'll be 9 and 3. Then worry about the negatives. One or the other or both is going to be negative. What do you guys? Why is it both? Because that is correct. Negatives cancel and give you positive 27. Good. So draw your 2 sets of parentheses. And in there, you're going to have x minus 9 and x minus 3. That's your answer.
Does it matter if you put 3 or 9 first?
It does not matter. The order does not make a difference. All right. Let's try it again. For number 3. Negative 14 goes on the top. 5 goes on the bottom. Don't worry about the negatives though. Like that'll come second. Just get the numbers first. You need numbers that multiply to be 14. 7 and 2. Good. See, we're building our number sense. Now figure out which one's negative.
7's negative.
No, it's
2.
the 2. Because 7 minus 2 is 5. So draw your 2 sets of parentheses. What's going to go in them for your answer?
X plus 7.
Good, you guys got it. Now, you're going to do well on the closure problems because you're writing it down with me. So thank you, I appreciate it. All right, let's try this one. 36 goes on the top, negative 12 goes on the bottom. You need numbers that multiply to be 36. Well, 9 plus 4 won't be 12. But again, you're on the mark. Like you're coming up with numbers that multiply to be 36. So you're there. It will be 6 times 6. And then one or the other or both is negative. Both. Good. Very similar. So draw your 2 sets of parentheses. What's going to go in them? Good. Now there's actually one more step to this one. Do you see how it's a twin? You're going to write it as x minus 6 squared. That's how we write the ones that are a twin. It means you have 2 of them. So when you end up with the exact same thing, you write it as squared.
You have to.
Yes. It's a secondary step to the problem.
What's that GCF?
That's what we practiced on the Quizlet partner game, all right? So what I want you to do is look at these numbers, 5, 20, and 105. What can you divide out of all three of them? 5. You're gonna put a 5, put a parenthesis.
Oh,
It's this thing. Divide them all by 5. What would be left? 1x squared. I don't really recommend putting the 1 there, but you can if you want to. Plus 4x, good, minus, now that would be 21. You could use a calculator for that. Okay, hold on 1 second. Will, you can go, but that doesn't mean that you're off the hook from learning this, okay? So now here's what's gonna happen. Off to the side, draw your X box. We're gonna kind of ignore this 5 here. What number goes on the top? Close. Negative 21, good. And then on the bottom, 4. Just get the numbers first. Don't worry about the negative. You need numbers that multiply together to equal 21. Good. Then worry about which one's negative. Only one of them will be negative.
or no, 3.
Good. 7 minus 3 is 4. And when you go to write your answer, you're just going to keep that 5 out front. The 5 is just there. Can you close that Chromebook and take these notes with me up? There should be one on your desk. So just leave the 5 there, draw your 2 sets of parentheses, and what's going to go in those? You got it. Perfect. You're on fire today. All right, we're going to try one more of these, and then there's another type of factoring we're going to do on the other side. So look at 3, 15, and 18. What number can you divide out of? Good. Put a 3, draw your parentheses, and you're just going to divide them all by 3. So that'll leave you with,
X squared.
good, perfect. What Cody said, x squared minus 5x plus 6. So you kind of ignore the 3 at this point. The 3 is sort of just there. Draw your x. 6 goes on the top, negative 5 goes on the bottom. We did one like this last time. The 6s and the 5s get weird because it can be 1 and 6, or it can be 2 and 3, and it's the negative signs that dictate which one it is. So if you try it one way and it doesn't work, you just erase it and try it the other way. Good. The reason it's the 2 and the 3 is because they both need to be negative and cancel out. If you did 1 and 6, only one of them would be negative, and so the negatives won't work. It's very tricky. You have to be careful with that. So now how are we going to write our final answer to, bless you, to the whole thing? 3, and then your parentheses, good. X minus 2, X minus, good. Do you see how you all got that when you listened to me? That was perfect, right? There's one other type of factoring we're going to do today. So we've done GCF. Here we just did the trinomials. Go ahead and flip over. This last one we're going to do today is called grouping. How do you know if it's grouping? If you have 4 terms, that's how you can tell that it's grouping. So can you look at this? Do you see how there are 4 items added together? Like, do you notice that? All right. Here's what you do. You group the first 2 and you group the second 2, which just means put parentheses around the first 2, put parentheses around the second 2. Don't tune me out. We're almost done, okay? And then you're going to do a greatest common factor for each one. So watch, I'm going to cover this up. Only look at that part. What do these 2 share in common? What have they both got? Good. You're going to put an X and then a parentheses. This is what you did on the partner thing. Remember, I gave you a little card and you went and matched up. It's that, okay? If you divide an X out of both of those, what's left? X, good, plus 7, good, okay. Spoiler alert. The second half is gonna have an X plus 7. It has to, or the problem won't work, right? So now what I'm gonna do is cover all this up and we're gonna do just this half. What can you divide out of both of those? 2. Now specifically a positive 2, and you wanna put the positive or the negative there. Draw your parentheses and oh my gosh, what's left if you divide both of those by 2? Oh my gosh, it came out to X plus 7. Isn't that crazy? I know. And then you just kind of write the answer. You put the one that they have in common. Do you see that X plus 7? They have that in common. Now, if I cover that up, what's left? X plus 2. plus 2, and then that's your final answer. So you put the one that they have in common and then what's left, right? I don't know that we need to do all 6 of these. Let's just do a few of them to make sure that you're good. Let's try the first one. So you kind of just do half the problem at a time. You group them and you just do half of it at a time. We have to do enough so that you understand, though. I'm not trying to put you asleep, but you have to know how to do this. And afterwards, I'm going to give you a delta math, and I don't want you to all be stuck, right? So look at just the first 2. What can you divide out of just those? Good. Perfect. Put 3x, put a parentheses. What's left if you divide out 3x? X minus 5. Oh my gosh. Hey guys, when we do the second half of this, there's going to be an x minus 5. Yeah, huh? All right, so I'm going to cover all that up. What can you divide out of both of these? Just 2. Specifically a positive 2. And whether it's positive or negative, you want to put that there. Put parentheses. If you divide by 2, you get x minus 5. Neat. So your final answer, you can draw your 2 parentheses if you like if that helps you to set it up. I sometimes say that, just set it up. In the first one, you're going to put your x minus 5. That's what they've both got. And then if I cover that up, what's left? That's it. Let's do 2 more. I want to do at least one that has a negative in it. Let's do the odd ones. We'll go down the left side. Yeah. Is there... Will is out there. Do not interact with him. Okay. So draw your 2 sets of parentheses around the first 2 and the second 2. We're just going to do a couple more to make sure you understand what's going on. Shh. What can you divide out of just the first 2? What have they both got? X. Perfect. Put X, put a parenthesis. You're going to be all right. What's left if you divide out an X? Oh my gosh, what is the second half of this going to have in it? Hey, would you humor me and write this down? Yeah, thank you. It means pick up your pencil and write down what I'm writing down.
Humor her. It works. It's just sometimes.
That works all the time. All right, so I'm going to cover this up. Look at the second half. What can you divide out of both of those? -7. Good. You want to put whether it's positive or negative. And then your parentheses, if you divide out a -7, you will be left with x plus 2. Why is it plus? Negatives cancel out. And also, if you see this is an x plus 2, you know that's going to be an x plus 2. All right. So draw your parentheses. What's going to go in the first one? Yeah, x plus 2. And then in the second one, x minus 7. Good. And we'll do number 5 and then we can end with that, right? So group the first 2, group the second 2. So just look at the first 2. Now these are kind of bigger numbers. You have 10 and 25. What can you take out of both of them?
I mean, 5.
5?
5x squared.
X squared. Good. We got there. You guys helped each other. I like that. 5x squared. Draw your parentheses. We're going to divide that out. So that would leave you with 2. Good. What else?
Would it be 2x?
It would be 2x. Good. You guys are helping each other, so that's working out. Are you writing this down? I will take that.
Yeah.
I am allowed to do that. All right, so 2x minus, and then if you divide from the second one, what's left? 5. Good. There's gonna be a 2x minus 5 in the second one. There has to be, or the problem doesn't work. Okay. So I'm going to cover that up. What can you divide out of both of these?
2.
Specifically, a positive 2. You want to put whether it's positive or negative. And then check, if you divide both of those by 2, you get 2x minus 5. You want to check that that is correct. And then your final answer, draw your 2 sets of parentheses. What goes in the first one? 2x minus 5. And then in the second one,